I guess we can just jump into it. So we will move on to the beginning of summer 2026 with the Ghost in the Shell reboot, The Ghost in the Shell, episode 1. And it starts with kind of a quick excerpt on the current world. In 1998, a neurochip was made at Harima Science City, and it's growing out of control, and its fibers have grown to terminals that they were printed on, composed of galactose-infused polystyrene. And that month, cyberbrain technology began to shift to a micro-machine base. And in 2028, neurochips are widely used in robots and AI.
Real quick, the animation of this show so far has a stark contrast, and the backgrounds do not match like the characters at all. It's almost like they're superimposed, and I know that's on purpose, obviously, because we see it happen. And also the animation style changes throughout the episode just a little bit with the characters. Once it gets more serious, the characters are very detailed, but then it switches back and forth. It's a very interesting way they chose to go about this anime.
It's going to be a very stark contrast to the earlier animated works of Ghost in the Shell. So if you're kind of expecting what the old stuff was, you are going to be in for a ride. But I do like the animation style. It kind of does bring it back to that like 90s Dominion Tank Police Project A-Co style animation, which I like, but I have some notes on the story at the end here. It's now March 5th, 2029 in Nihama Prefecture, and there's a military operation going on targeting silicon deposits. And there's a meeting of some people talking about slave trade and some other illegal stuff. But the operation begins, and they seize the Vice Minister of Commerce and other officials in connection with some sort of plot and the late Prime Minister's death. But they have some mumbo-jumbo about international law, and they can't arrest them, blah, blah, blah. But then, who we know as the Major is there, and she, with her optical camouflage, blasts the dude with some cool blasting bullets. And Aramaki is like, what? And the Major jumps from the tower using her 2902 thermal optic camo. And then the next day, she shows up with a kill order from the late Prime Minister. And a new unit was formed, and Aramaki has requested to lead it. I have a note here that says it's the same as the original animated Ghost in the Shell, but it's also different. And as I said before, it's to follow the manga very closely, which seems to be more goofy and cartoony versus the serious vibe that the 1995 movie had. So as you can see, even in this picture, like a lot more colors.
Oh, it's very, very, very saturated. Holy shit.
Yeah, like in the other one, it was just stark, kind of. Like it always felt like it was raining. Always felt like there was like smog.
I mean, it felt like you lived in a big city where they didn't give a shit about the health of the people.
It did feel more
like it was
dystopian.
Tokyo or like Macau or something, like, or New York or LA. There's always like a cloud overhead.
But this feels more, I don't know, like open, I guess.
This next picture, you see how fucking beautiful it is? It's like, this is a gorgeous looking, vibrant screenshot. And everybody's just hanging out vibing, dude. Everyone's just like having a good time. And then, like, you think about old Ghost in the Shell, it's just like, Motoko is just sad all the time. And the whole team is just having a tough time.
The whole world is having a tough time.
Yeah, true. All right.
But we fast forward to April 10th, 2029, and the Major has a new mission to meet up with the Suisen in South Nihama Ward 4. And she's like, man, fuck that. But Aramaki says her funds for her special unit was passed by the National Council. And Bato is like, you really going through with this deal? With public security? And she says she has to if they want to make the unit official. The Tachikomas confirm, and like, number one, right? Again, a lot of this information I knew from the past. They haven't even introduced Bato as a character. I don't even think they've said his name yet. And the Tachikomas, they haven't even really mentioned the Tachikoma names yet either. This is just all prior information that I had about the series as a whole. More on that at the end of the episode here. But the Tachikomas confirm the transaction and they're off. And they brain dive into the Major to get the info for the mission. And they're able to see and sense her memories. And she's like, man, I hate letting those dudes dive into my brain. But apparently, like, you can sense and feel everything. So they're like tasting last night's alcohol, like in their mouths, and estrogen and some other bullshit. And it's weird, I guess. But they get to their location, which is a war orphan relief center, and they're supposed to apprehend someone, not kill them or blow it up. And now the Major is wondering if they have been set up. But it cuts to inside the facility, and it seems pretty shitty, and the kids are forced to say everything is great. But kid number 28 is just getting shocked all the time. And then they get fed information from the quote-unquote learning center, which is supposed to be some ghost controller. But the Major is like, man, that thing is just an old-ass learning machine. But Bato is like, wait, and has Ishikawa and Togusa go to plant a tracker on kid number 28. And they ride off in their Tachikomas, and they capture the kid and plant a tracker on him. And Togusa says that the guards are some modified Sagawa Heavy Industries type 2033s used by military and artillery squads. So real quick, I feel like if you don't know much about Ghost in the Shell, at this point you might be like a little lost, because they're talking about a lot of concepts of like ghosts and ghost controllers, and then we're going to see it here in a second with like the hacking and hacking into people's brains. And I just don't think that they set up the story very well, where if a brand new viewer started watching this, they would grasp what is going on at the moment. And I guess right now it's okay because it's episode 1. And if we remember from the Ghost in the Shell movie, I think they did a bit more exposition on kind of like the world and how everyone basically is cyberized now, and everyone's brains are just like computers. But then you have your ghost, which is kind of like, I would equate it to like your soul almost. And basically you and this computer are connected together, and people can like hack your soul and some other shit. And then it goes into some crazy like existential ideas of like, what is a soul and what is all this stuff. But just real quick, me watching it, even with all the information that I have, I still felt like, damn, this is moving a little fast, and yes, I don't think people know what's going on. But Bato says that means that these guys work for the government if they have those military suits, and maybe the Major's info was wrong. And it cuts to the kid, exhausted with the guards, and they say that 3 strikes, and it's brainwashing time. The Major is like, fuck it, let's ball. That's what my ghost says, and they roll up. But the guards are onto them, and the lead guard is able to take down Ishikawa, and he has the ghost controller and is able to tap their signal through Ishikawa's brain. But the Major does some backflips and shit and is able to have the Tachikomas counter with their own network attack. The lead guard dude goes to pursue the Major, but she sets up a sweet trap and then blows up its legs, and he couldn't detect her because of her Kyore invisibility cape. And he surrenders and gives the Major the ghost controller. So this ghost controller apparently can just like tap into people's souls and kind of like take over their bodies, more or less. That's why it's so crazy and important. And whenever anyone is shot and there's blood, it's always that weird like pixelated shit too, because in the beginning when the Major shot the vice minister dude or whatever, it was kind of the same pixelized blood style. And I don't know if that's supposed to show like the ghost leaving the body sort of thing. I don't know.
They had said that it was like a specialized bullet. I don't think I took a screenshot of what they said about the bullet.
Yeah. And I'm just remembering from, again, the original movie when she shot the director dude, because like that's the very beginning of the movie where she is like naked standing on the building, puts on her invisibility cloak and kind of like free falls down and then blasts the dude through the windows, and then his head just explodes. I thought that the special bullets were like the exploding incendiary style bullets, because when she shot that dude, he just fucking exploded. But I don't know. I mean, you could be right. But the major tells kid number 28 to go do something with his life, and then she bounces. And then they have a debriefing meeting, and they basically say that the major made too big of a mess. And then she remote controls the fucking minister guy that's telling her she's shit, and then forces him to punch his own face.
Which was pretty funny. He punched his own face, and it was really funny.
That's basically it. That was the first episode. I know it seems like I went through it pretty quick, but I feel like they fed us information very, very fast. And this show is definitely one that has a lot of like political intrigue. They have a lot of political filler stuff about like past military operations, old military tech, stuff that like we don't necessarily know about yet, or like what it does, or like why it's relevant, besides the fact that it's like old and technology's changed, but people are still using kind of that like older technology. So for me, this first episode was kind of out there a little bit. And I like to think that I like Ghost in the Shell. I'm not hyper knowledgeable about it, not like DJ Montague and JJK, but I do feel like it went like very quick, and they did cover stuff, but then they didn't. And I don't know if that's by design, but as I said in the beginning, I know that this is like a straight up manga adaptation or anime adaptation of the manga. And if this is the pacing of the manga, which I never read, then I guess they're doing a fine job of the adaptation.
I didn't read the manga as well. And as someone that has seen the original movie and basically season 2, 3, I don't think I watched Standalone Complex Second Gig, or didn't follow it as closely, but I did watch Standalone Complex. It was very good. But it's such a more serious show. Like Togusa dealing with the humanity of himself in a world where like everyone's augmented to the fucking gills, and like trying to keep what he has the idea of humanity is intact. Stuff like that is a lot of what Standalone Complex was. Bato, isn't he dealing with like relationship issues while being in the group?
If I remember correctly, this is kind of like future knowledge for everyone. They actually kind of go over the Togusa stuff in episode 2. But yeah, in the movie and Standalone Complex and basically all the other Ghost in the Shell shit, Togusa is like the least modified out of all of the unit. According to the past animes, all he has is like a brain chip so he can kind of do the telepathic communication shit with the rest of the team. But other than that, he's pretty much not cyberized at all. But the Major, Bato, and like all these other dudes are like cyberized. Like Bato's eyes obviously are not normal eyes. They're like fucking lenses. But Bato, I think he was struggling with humanity in the aspect of doing human shit. So I remember he always drank a lot, but then obviously they're like, he's fully cyberized, so the alcohol does literally nothing. So why are you even drinking?
Yeah.
He always worked out, but they're like, why would you even work out? Because it's not like you have muscles. It's all cyberized hydraulic shit. And if you want to get stronger, you just got to like turn some knobs and then you'll just get stronger because machine. So it was like that whole idea of like, what is humanity? What makes someone human? What makes something like the ghost or the soul, like the memories? Is it who it is? You know, they had all of this kind of like existential serious stuff in the previous series, which I think is what a lot of people gravitated to and they liked about the series, was that it was kind of like a dark action detective thing, but then it was questioning like what humanity was. I don't
What
feel
are you
like
willing
get
to
that.
lose to do your job is a lot of what Standalone Complex seemed to be.
Or even just out of like convenience or societal peer pressure of like, this is what everyone's doing. And they had a lot of concepts like that. And I don't want to take anything away from this anime quite yet, right? Because it's episode 1. But that's what I remember Ghost in the Shell for, was kind of those philosophical questions of what is all this stuff and what makes you you, even though everything is now data as opposed to being like physical memories. Interesting so far. I didn't hate the style. The character personalities are different, especially the Major. Bato actually seems pretty much the same. Ishikawa, pretty much the same. But yeah, not my favorite of the 4 animes
excited.
so far. but it is season one. Oh, not season one, episode one.
Yes.
We'll see what else the anime has in store for us.
I think with the coloration, we're getting a very much more lighthearted Ghost in the Shell, which I like it so far. Will it turn into be grating when they don't take all of the themes that they've created seriously? You have so much inspiration that Ghost in the Shell has given to the world in terms of cyberpunk anything. You could look at a lot of different cyberpunk works since then and see how much Ghost in the Shell influenced what we view as cyberpunk now. And it could go in the direction of you shit all over yourself and all of the things that you've pushed forward into the world and all of the wonderful storylines that you've helped create because you fucking made this season as a reboot, and like you make it a mockery of everything that's happened before. It's like when you have a book and you look at the work and then you make a widely accepted medium afterward, which one is the more influential? We could look at the manga and be like, well, everything was because of this, so this is the original work. It's like, well, is it, or was it the inspiration of something greater? Is it the original work that is the best?
We can't deny that it is the original work, but just because you created it or you started it doesn't mean that you're the best.
Right. It just means you inspired others to do great things. And if we're going to look at the old anime or the old manga and have a lens to it, this is what we do here. We analyze and have this discussion. So I'm ready to move on if you are too.
Yeah.